May I proceed, Your Worship?
You may proceed.
Thank you. Mr. Willemse, let's start on count 8. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
All right. So, this count, the state alleges that during March 2018 and May 2023, you received $3,010,000 million from Enercon Namibia and Irongo Petroleum as a gratification. Question: when did you start, or when did you become a member of the credit committee?
By virtue of my position as an employee of NAMCOR Trading and Distribution, I started to be part of the credit committee on 1st of June 2022.
Thank you. Did you directly receive $3,010,000 million from either Enercon Namibia or Irongo Petroleum CC?
I have not, Your Worship.
Count 9. Count 9 indicates that the crime of fraud, I must say it's a bit confusing, but it boils down to this, is that you misrepresented to NAMCOR that you had the authority to authorize the supply of fuel above credit limit for Enercon and Irongo. Question: are you authorized as a member to supply fuel for Enercon and Irongo?
No, Your Worship. I only recommend for authorization. I don't authorize.
Who authorized?
The managing director of the trading company. I'm not too sure which NAMCOR is this one. It's probably the holding company.
I think we know that NAMCOR, Enercon also only dealt with NAMCOR trading.
Okay.
So for purpose of these charges, one can safely assume they possibly refer to NAMCOR trading. All right. Then that is the D part. Then E says you allowed to facilitate the acquisition of assets from Enercon.
I have not, Your Worship.
Did you misrepresent to anyone that you may be part of a team that deals with the acquisition of assets?
No, Your Worship, I did not.
Just again, how did you become part of that team?
I was asked by the managing director to be part of the team from advisory point of view.
All right. Then it says, because you misrepresent that you authorize fuel, plus you allowed to facilitate acquisition, you cause loss to NAMCOR in the amount of $3,010,000 million.
I did not, Your Worship.
It's not clear at this point as to whether or not we know for a fact that the acquisition is 53 million.
The asset acquisition is 53,212 Namibian dollars, Your Worship. Yes, that's correct.
And we also know that the supply of fuel was also in the millions.
The supply of fuel to
either Enercon or...
That's correct, Your Worship.
So the 3,010,000, does it make sense to you?
No, it does not, Your Worship.
I want to deal with alternative to count 9, theft under false pretense. It also indicates the time frame of 15 July 2022 and 8 November 22. That would be the time that you were at NAMCOR, correct?
That's
15 July
correct, yes.
2022 and 8 November 2022.
Yes, that's correct, Your Worship.
All right. Now, this is what I found a bit strange, Mr. Willemse. I don't know if you understand the charge. It says you must represent to NAMCOR that you are authorized or the authority to supply fuel above the credit limit. Is that true? That you authorize
No, I
fuel?
did not, Your Worship.
And because of this misrepresentation that you authorize fuel, you stole. It looks like the charge says you stole from Irongo and NAMCOR money in the amount of $3,010,000. Did you steal from NAMCOR, Namibia, and Irongo Petroleum while you must represent to NAMCOR money?
No, I did not, Your Worship.
The second part of count number 9, the alternative rather, is that because you're a NAMCOR employee, you corruptly authorize the supply of petroleum products. Did you corruptly, although the count says theft or false pretense, it now brings in the element of corruption. It's a bit confusing, but let's deal with it as it stands. Did you corruptly authorize the supply of petroleum products?
No, I did not, Your Worship.
Who authorized the supply of products?
The final authorization or approval lies with the Managing Director.
There's another part on the charge, the last part. It says, furthermore, and whilst in the same capacity, again, the issue of element of corruption is brought under theft under false pretense. You corruptly facilitate the acquisition of the said assets and the payment of 53 million in favor of NAMCOR Namibia. Did you facilitate the acquisition of assets to NAMCOR?
No, I did not, Your Worship.
Then he says, you receive gratifications in the payment referred to above. I would assume, as it stands here, did you receive $53,242,000?
Which charge or which count are you looking at?
I'm referring to alternative to count 9. The last paragraph, if I read it correct. It says, furthermore, and whilst in the same capacity, you corruptly facilitated acquisitions of the said assets in the payment of 53 million and some thousands in favor of NAMCOR Namibia and indirectly received gratifications in the payments referred to above. Now there are 3 payments referred to above. One is, did you receive $3,010,000 from NAMCOR for facilitating the acquisition of that asset?
No, I did not, Your Worship.
The second amount, as stated therein, is the 30 million and some thousands. Did you receive that amount?
No, I did not, Your Worship.
Did you receive the amount of 53 million and some cents, or thousands?
The 30 million, is it receiving or is it resulted in the actual loss of the 30 million?
It reads, you indirectly receive gratifications in the payments referred to above. Now there are 3 payments that I see above. I'm just trying to make sure which one. Because there's a 3 million, there's an actual loss of 30 million. So we don't know whether or not it refers to any of those 3. I just want to cover, as they say in English, all the bases.
You may proceed.
Thank you. Count 10. Are you there, Mr. Willemse?
I'm there, Your Worship.
All right. It says that you corruptly accepted maybe gratification by or giving gratification to an agent. On 21 July 2020, you being an agent toward supply and logistic manager of NAMCOR did wrongfully and unlawfully accept a gratification toward 1,040,000 as a reward for facilitating the purchase of 9 service stations by NAMCOR from NAMCOR, Namibia. Do you understand the charge?
I do, Your Worship.
Now, first question. Did you receive 1,040,000 from NAMCOR?
I did not, Your Worship.
Your company is also charged together with you as accused number 40, correct?
That's correct, Your Worship.
I think it's common cause that the company Parkwood received 1,040,000 at some point.
At some point, yes, Your Worship.
Was Parkwood an agent of NAMCOR?
It was not, Your Worship.
You'll also notice, Mr. Willemse, that under count 10, you were not charged as a director or a member of Parkwood.
I noticed that, Your Worship.
You notice that this charge relates to you personally.
Yes.
Hence the question, did you receive this money personally?
I did not, Your Worship.
Basically, it's the same question, but just for completeness. Did you facilitate the purchase of 9 service stations by NAMCOR from NAMCOR?
No, I did not.
Did Parkwood maybe receive money for facilitating the deal?
No, they did not.
Count 11, charge of fraud. The allegations in this charge is that you, as a supply and logistic manager of NAMCOR, you misrepresented, looks like a duplication, but let's deal with it. You misrepresented to NAMCOR that you were allowed to facilitate the acquisition of the assets of NAMCOR. You understand the charge?
Yes, I do, Your Worship.
Did you make any misrepresentation to NAMCOR that you are allowed as part of the team?
No, I did not.
Again, why were you there?
I was asked to be there due to my expertise in the industry by the managing director.
By?
By the NAMCOR Trading managing director.
All right. Now, does the supply of fuel to Enercon have anything to do with the acquisition of the asset? Is it the same transaction?
No, it's not. The assets were dealt separately and the fuel supply was dealt separately.
The reason why I'm asking you that question is that if you go further, it says because you misrepresent that you were allowed to facilitate the acquisition, NAMCOR had an actual loss or suffered a potential prejudice because you supply fuel.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you look surprised, Mr. Willemse. You are not the only one. I'm also surprised that you must represent about allowing to facilitate acquisition, but the prejudice is few. I don't know if it's marked correctly, alternative to count 11. Would that be also be the theft of false pretense? Yeah. Okay.
Is this now the one that says alternative to count 13? It should be count 11.
Should be count 11, yeah. I picked that up. If you can just make a correction, it should be alternative to count 11. You are with us, Mr. Willemse?
I'm with you.
Correct. So, in this case, the state is saying you intended to defraud and steal from NAMCOR 1,040,000 by some sort of a misrepresentation that you allowed to facilitate an asset. Did you steal 1,040,000 from either NAMCOR or NAMCOR?
I did not, Your Worship.
Count 12. The charge indicates that you as a public officer in your position as supply and logistic manager at NAMCOR, you directly or indirectly corruptly use your position in a public body to approve or authorize the supply of fuel beyond a credit limit to Irongo Petroleum, resulting in an actual loss of over 30 million. So, remember when we started this bail application, I asked you, the money that NAM Trading is using, where did they get it from?
They generate it themselves through product sales,
Okay.
fuel sales.
You also remember you testified that NAMCOR Holding was established by Act of Parliament.
It wasn't established by Act of Parliament, it was established by the Petroleum and Exploration Act.
Yeah, it's
It's the only parastatal that hasn't been established by an Act of Parliament.
Yeah, Parliament is, but anyway, I hear you. But be that as it may, so it's not a government body, or what?
As far as I know, it's not, and I'm also not a public agent because I work for NAMCOR Petroleum Trading, which is a private company established within the Companies Act.
So the money that you receive from the selling of fuel, where does that money go?
To NAMCOR Trading's account, and then they pay their suppliers out of the proceeds and pay their own salaries to people. They've had their own people that are employed on NAMCOR Trading.
Are you employed by NAMCOR Holdings in any position?
No, I have not.
So, Mr. Willemse, question. Are you a public officer?
I am not, Your Worship.
Or were you rather?
I were not, Your Worship.
Were you a supply and logistic manager of NAMCOR Holding?
No, I have not.
The question is, were you a?
A supply and logistic manager of NAMCOR Holding.
And your answer is?
No, I were not.
Is, as far as your knowledge is concerned, NAMCOR Trading a public body?
As far as I'm concerned, it is not a public body.
Mr. Willemse, did you approve or authorize supply of fuel beyond credit limit to Irongo Petroleum?
I didn't authorize. I recommend I do not have the powers as highlighted in the credit policy there to have such powers.
Who approves or authorizes?
Final authorization, once again, is with the managing director,
Thank you.
or approval, I would say.
Thank you. Count 13. The allegation is that you conceal or use or deal with funds in the amount of 4,050,000 that you receive as a gratification from NAMCOR Namibia and Irongo Petroleum because you authorized the supply of fuel to the entities while they were above the approved credit limits and for the purchase of assets from NAMCOR Namibia. Do you understand the charge?
Yes, I do.
Did you receive 4,050,000 from NAMCOR and or Irongo Petroleum?
No, I have not, Your Worship.
Did you approve credits?
No, I have not, Your Worship.
Can I just complete that in context? Approve credit limits for NAMCOR and Irongo Petroleum CC.
I have not, Your Worship.
Did you approve the purchase of the assets for NAMCOR Namibia Pty?
No, I have not, Your Worship.
Count 14. It is alleged by the state that during the period March 2022 and May 2023, you conspired with Jennifer Amakwaya, Emmanuel Mulonga, Olivia Grace Tunaiski, and owners of EcoFuel Investment, Irongo Petroleum CC, and NAMCOR Namibia Pty Ltd to commit fraud, theft, false pretense, and money laundering. So what the state is saying here is that all the charges that we've dealt with above, meaning that you authorize fuel, that you authorize the purchase, that you receive a gratification from NAMCOR or Irongo, that you conspired with all your fellow employees, members from NAMCOR to commit these crimes. What do you say?
No, I did not.
If one of the charges that I've read now saying that you authorized it or you facilitate the purchase of the assets of NAMCOR, then Mr. Willemse, it seems to me there are some names missing in this charge. Where are the imposers? Were they not also involved in the acquisition of the asset?
Yes, they were, and they were actually directly involved.
Count 15, money laundering. Maybe just
Now, just to clarify, you say yes, they were. Are you referring only to Maposa, or is there any other name that you're?
the names that we refer to that signed on the memorandum.
Yes.
Must I just repeat those names, Your Worship?
No, I take note of the names that have already been mentioned.
On the memorandum.
Yes.
Yes.
You may proceed.
Thank you. Count 15. Money laundering. The state is saying that you were supposed to know that that 4,050,000 was the proceeds of unlawful activities which you received knowingly from NAMCOR Namibia and Irongo Petroleum in your personal bank account held at Standard Bank with account number 241879442. Let's first deal with it. It's not clear from the charge which unlawful activities are referred to. One would assume is the activities referred to above. Did you receive 4,050,000 from NAMCOR and or Irongo Petroleum?
I have not, Your Worship.
Did you receive that amount in your personal bank account, Standard Bank?
I have not, Your Worship.
Alternative to part 15 is the acquisition, possession or use of proceeds of unlawful activities, again money laundering, in that for that period you unlawfully intentionally possesses and or use this amount knowing to have come from unlawful activities and thus commit offense of money laundering. Any amount paid into your account, was this from unlawful activities?
No, it was not, Your Worship.
As far as your calculations are concerned, did you receive 4,050,000? I don't know from where, but anyway, that amount?
No,
Your
I-
personal bank account?
I did not, Your Worship.
Count 16. It says that the amount of 3,27,500, the 327,577,463 Namibian dollars and 90 cents were paid into your account, which were the proceeds of fuel supplied to NAMCOR, supplied by NAMCOR to Enercon and Erongo Petroleum.
And
When,
paid-
sorry?
And paid into his account. So I never received I never did, Your Worship.
So if the bank, if my learned colleague rip out your bank statements, we will not see that amount of 327 million somewhere.
No, Your Worship. No.
Count 17. I see there's a totally unrelated charge, maybe just to get the web as big as the state can. There's a failure to pay tax. Does that have anything to do with any activities of fuel or acquisition?
No, it does not, and that's why this is a malicious charge.
Why would you say it's a malicious charge?
Because I've been dealing with NEMRA regarding this, and I've lodged an objection. I was engaging with NEMRA. I filed tax returns. I got a result. The result was not, someone at NEMRA was not happy about the result. They called for an audit. They did an audit. They rejected most of the documents I have submitted as evidence. Then they came out with this charge of 60 million and I had to pay 20 million. I lodged an objection in October 2024, which evidence I've got. And I received a reply from NEMRA that my objection is valid. And I have also got that letter as evidence. And in January 2025, this year, we checked on the system of NEMRA and it still says objection pending. And my accountant was informed, please don't phone us. We will phone you once we are done.
I'm confused. You said your objection was first considered as valid.
It is, and it still is. I've got a letter to that effect.
But then on the system,
It shows objection pending.
okay,
So for me, it doesn't make sense that number one, this charge, and why I'm saying it's malicious, how does this charge find its way in here? Because as far as I'm concerned, we were still dealing with this matter.
right.
Because a lot of my information that I have submitted has been withdrawn, because the first notice I got was for 4.2 million, which we were busy trying to make a repayment plan, because I agreed with that number. And then suddenly we got a letter, which unfortunately, Your Worship, if I had access to my laptop, which is lawfully seized by the ACC. Those email correspondence is there, and with NAMRA. And suddenly I'm confused why even this charge is here in the first place, because am I the only one in Namibia owing 60 million or 20 million? I heard in the newspapers of over 100 million people.
Yeah, let's just deal with the specific one. Yeah, it's also strange that this one sounds like outside horse that you refer to. But be that as it may, did you unlawfully declare or fail to declare an income of 60 million to NAMRA?
No, I did not, Your Worship. What I've explained we had 2 meetings with NAMRA officials after they requested for an audit. I explained to them the circumstances. For a while I did not submit and I explained to them that my ex-wife used to do my books, my personal taxes. It was up to date up to 2017, round about there. Then due to my divorce, everything went haywire and she hasn't done it. And then came COVID and I was very sick. So when I recovered and tried to get all my documents together because I moved out, so I explained this to NAMRA. So me and my accountant were busy already. So when I got this notice of an audit, which they asked for a lot of documents, I asked for an extension. But in the meantime, we filed a 0 returns for those months because on advice of my accountant that you have 3 years after that to submit your actual while you are gathering the documents. So then while NAMRA was giving me notice of an audit and asked for a lot of documents, I asked for an extension to obtain those documents. My accountant then lodged it begs the question which I asked them, how would my accountant within a day submit, or 2 days submit suddenly 5 years worth of tax returns? And in the meantime, the tax returns was then assessed by the office around here. And then suddenly, when I submitted this, they called me again after we received a 4.2 million tax obligation and said, no, this tax obligation is null and void. We will audit you. And re-audit you, or I'm not too sure what they were doing. And we were called to the head office there. We explained to them. And then there was a follow-up session, which we explained to them, because a lot of, even the money I got from South Africa, the 95 of the club that I sold, they rejected that. So then this came, that I owe them that, and then they say I can object, which I did.
So your objection is still ongoing?
The system so shows it's pending.
All right. Mr. Willemse, that brings us to the end of your explanation regarding the charges. We were disclosed by the state your personal bank accounts or bank account, the account of Parkwood CC that you were at the time the sole member, as well as Quality Meat Supplies. Now, for sake of brevity, we've identified payments in the bank statements. I don't know if my learned friend would have an objection if I zoom into these payments. We're supposed to look for these payments to the statements, because it may amount to, as my learned friend indicated earlier this week, as leading.
So we will not have a problem. In fact, we have the bank statement. If he can refer to specific payments, that will be in order. But when I ask the accused questions or the applicant, then I will go into much detail with him because he has the statement. But if he wants to refer to specific transactions that he thinks are relevant to him, that is well within his rights. But I will not do as he's going to ask him. I'm going to go in much more detail.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, I don't have a problem. My little friend will.
Okay, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Worship. On 15 July 2022, Quality Meat Supplies paid to you the amount of 150,000. Do you confirm that payment?
I confirm that payment, Your Worship.
Can you please, will you be able to find it?
Yes, I would.
Okay. For what was that payment?
It seems my file doesn't have the 7th month, the specific month of 2022. It ends at 1st of the 6th on 301, and then on 302 it jumps to, no, wait, maybe it jumps to,
Yours
I see it,
would be
it's probably a
280.
miss. Yeah, I've got it now.
Okay, got
On
it.
306, yes.
So, can you tell the court, maybe while you're there, if the court can find it, on which page is that?
306.
306 of bundle 2. You will notice in your charges there's no allegation that the state is making that you receive money from Quality Meat Supplies. You see that?
No, there's none, Your Worship.
You also agree with me, there's no allegation by the state that NAMCOR or Iran Petroleum through Quality Meat Supplies give you money. It's not in your charges, do you agree?
It's not in my charges, Your Worship.
So, for what was that?
The narrative, Your Worship,
Mr. Willemse, let me not ask you about the narrative. I want to zoom into this thing. It's 3 minutes past 8. It's been a long day. I just want us to be crisp. The 150,000 received from Quality Meat Supplies on 15 July 2022, for what was it?
it was for game and goats payment, as per the bank statement.
Alright. What is your relationship, or was, with Quality Meat Supplies?
Your Worship, Quality Meat Supplies, as I previously testified, I met Mr. Malima, which I believe he was the owner of Quality Meat, but I understand it. He was just a beneficial owner. But, however, in somewhere in 2021, briefly, and then I think I referred to that but we didn't pursue that in April 2022. What was it? March, April. In April 2022, I met him again, and that was a coincidental meet at a restaurant where he bumped into me. I was waiting for another appointment, and he greeted, and we started chatting and talk about farming. He also has a farm apparently in the north with piggeries and goats and whatever. So we were talking and chatting, and then he said, but he owns a he owns a meat company, and he's always looking for suppliers. So it evolved, because at that point in time, due to droughts and I started to have overgrazing. That's why I had a lot of equipment doing my own feed on the farm that they call Boscos or something. So you do wood and make feed in order to supplement the food. And I said to him, the feed to the animals. I have a lot of different types of livestock, and he was interested that I give him prices, and then he will look into it. So a few days after that,
Just a moment.
sorry, you were sure.
Can you proceed?
Yes.
A few days after that, he asked me to send him, after I sent him the prices, he sent me an order. And then I supplied my first order to him. The only issue I had with supplying that order, and at that time I must note, Your Worship, Mr. Malema at that time had no relation with NAMCOR. His relation with NAMCOR ended when the Eco Fuel debt transfer was ceded to NAMCOR, a transaction which I was not involved. So his company, Quality Meat, himself had no relation with NAMCOR at that point in time. And because this is a meat product sales related to farming activities, I felt there was no conflict. So I offered him, the only issue that I had with that is that he couldn't pay me in 30 days. He asked for a 60-day supply term, which I reluctantly agreed to because I had to, because I need to reduce my stock on my farm. Otherwise, I'll lose it to drought or I'll get nothing at the auctions. So then, my first supply, as I can recall, Your Worship, although sometimes I suffer with memory, was in April 2022. In April 2022, of this 150,000. And if I can, because most of my stuff is in boxes, I've moved from this house where I sold for my farm. I made invoice. There was invoices and delivery notes, Your Worship. So that was a legitimate transaction, and there is where the relationship started, a supplier-buyer relationship based on fuel, on this stock. And that's why I also was looking for my laptop, because I wanted to portray to the court or illustrate to the court that I had the cattle. I started farming in 2011, 10-11. And all my things didn't die, I sold them. So at some point of time, you need to offload your stock, your livestock, or you lose them. I lost some during my period, also a lot of stock due to droughts. So this is where my relationship with Mr. Malema actually became.
All right. So the 150,000 is for supply of meat products.
Correct, Your Worship.
How does it work? How do you supply it?
Your Worship, if the ACC could have just interviewed me or
Mr.
even
Willemse,
visited the farms,
Mr. Willemse,
I will
just
answer
want
you.
you to concentrate on my...
I have slaughtering facilities
Just
on my
a minute,
farms.
just a minute. We will ask the ACC questions. But I want you to concentrate on what I'm asking you. So just tell us, how did that transaction take place? How does it take place?
Your Worship, I have slaughtering facilities on all 3 farms that I had at that point in time, with equipment of meat saws and mincers and all those things. So when he places an order, my question to him was, how do we want the product? Should I process it or should I deliver it in carcasses? He was happy to have it in carcasses. So what I will do, I also testify that I've got a meat trailer that I'm selling currently with a cold unit on it.
Cold storage on it?
Yeah, and I have cold rooms at each and every of those 3 farms.
Okay.
They're still there. So I will slaughter it and then I will uplift it and deliver it to Inwindhoek. Sometimes they had offices just opposite the showgrounds. They're close to Marua Mall. And sometimes I would deliver it to meet him at single quarters, where I would deliver. And then there were some informal traders that come and take it directly from the trailer. The times I was with, there was times that he just said, he takes the trailer and he goes and deliver it after he washed it. So that was the arm's length transaction between myself and Mr. Malema. And then he would sign a delivery note and I will invoice based on that delivery note. And this is how the transaction between ourselves worked.
Awesome.
Is that now, because I believe the question was referring to the 960,000?
No. How does it deliver the meat? How does the transaction work?
Okay.
And payment will be how? Will be cash?
No, payment in my bank account.
Okay. So your storage, you have cold facilities. You take the meat, you deliver. He takes it and then either a raw more or informal settlement, and then.
Yeah, he also mentioned that he had, sorry, Your Worship, that he had a supply agreement with NWR to supply all the NWR shops with meat products. But however, I don't know if he give them whole or does he have a place where he processes it. But that was none of my business. My business was selling of my carcasses and getting payment.
When the proposition is put to you that this quality meat market consists of a residential property and not according to HC, they were expecting the state-of-the-art butchery and mincers and meat. Were you ever at QMS where they operated from?
No, I have not, Your Worship. In fact, it's not none of my business, as long as I get paid for my products.
Great. There's another payment, if I have correct, 21 July, an amount of 960,000.
That's correct, Your Worship.
On which page is that, Mr. Willemse?
In the same page,
All right, for what was that?
it says beef, lamb, and game carcasses payment.
Who did you sell it to?
Quality meat supplies.
All right.
But just to make a note, Your Worship,
Okay.
this was not a one invoice or one supply at a time. It was a few invoices, multiple invoices that amounts to
960.
Yes.
Now, maybe you must put that in context. I'm thinking, if I order 10 head of cattle, how does the amount of 960,000, how much cattle or product
Okay.
you have to sell?
Your Worship, I had in my statement, if I can find it, would illustrate. At the time, over 300 livestock in 2024. So it had to come from
You
somewhere.
mean,
So
same one?
to answer the question,
So in 2024,
yes, when I applied, after I reduced my stock, you built up, because 100 cattle will give you, if you have a birth percentage, just if we just talk about cattle.
I just asked a question. If you said in 2024, you had that
Correct.
number. How much did you have in 2022? Can you remember?
I think it was even more than that, but around about that figure. It should maybe 50 more or 80 more.
That you can get from your herd statement, or what?
No, the 2024 ones, you see, when you draw a herd statement, it goes off. I tried to send people to where do this veterinary, where they do the meat.
Meat board
Not the meat board.
or
the
veterinarian?
Veterinarian, they have where you normally can get your herd statements and update. So unfortunately, when they draw it and you submit that they reduce it, and then when there's newborns, you put it up again and so forth.
I see. But to come back to the 960, how much?
You see, Your Worship, if you look at average that you sell when the calf or the cow, depending on what you are slaughtering, and in his case it was mainly young cattle, around about 250 kilos an average, sometimes 280, but less than 300. And you multiply that at a price of, I think we agreed, because of the 60 days, we agreed to a 85 or a $80 per kilo. So if you just make an average of say 250 times $80, it will give you what is one cow's proceeds. Because remember, I'm slaughtering it for him. It's not live that he needs to still pay slaughtering fees and things like that. So I'm not too sure. It should come to around 15.
Just give it, get to me 250
times say 85.
dollars.
Yes.
Brings you to 21,250.
Yeah. Let's work on an average of say 16,000.
Okay.
For hypothetical. Then 16,000. If you take 960 divided by 16,000, if we just supply beef, but it wasn't. It was a mix of livestock.
Just give you 60.
So Your Worship, 60. When you have a herd of close to 300, 350, 300, 60, and getting 960, for selling 60 cattle. That's not unreasonable. In fact, 100 cows that I normally had, you have your cows that you breed with, and then you have the winners, and I don't want to take the court into that.
Yeah.
Will give you probably, if you have an 80%, which is actually low, calf percentage, will give you 80 cows per year. And every 12 to 15 months, you slaughter them and you sell them. That is just out of 100 cows.
All right. So there's another 350,000 paid from Quality Meat Supplies, 27 July 2022. For what was that?
That it shows that is beef carcass. That was just probably beef carcass.
All right. Then there's another amount of 500 from Quality Meat Supplies on 18 August 2022.
Yes, it shows QMS beef order payment. So it's for cattle again.
All right. Then there's 550,000 from Quality Meat Supply 1 November 2022.
1 November.
If I have correct, yeah.
It just say, this reference just say QMS.
And just a moment.
So-
Which page are
I
we
saw you
looking at?
316, Your Worship.
What is the page?
316.
316. Maybe just, I forgot to give the court the page number. The 960 is on which page? You said the same page, right?
That was on the same page.
The 350,000 on which page is it?
Oh, sorry.
On 27 July?
The 500 was on 309, and then the 350 was on 307, Your Worship.
Okay. Then there's a 50,000 on 8 November 2022.
On 8th of the 11th, also just reference QMS.
For what was that?
It should be for some meat products, I don't know, because these references are put in by the person who's doing the payments. It's not by myself.
Is this on page 317?
317, Your
The
Worship.
date is?
8 November 2022.
What is the amount you are referring to?
Is it the
50,000.
50,000?
And if I may, Your Worship,
Yes.
if Your Worship would just lift the eye a bit upwards, on top of the 50,000, Your Worship would notice quite amounts of 5,000. 1, 2, 3, 4 amounts of 5,000. What I'm trying to say there, it shows that it was for, was it that one? No, it's not. But it shows that it was cash deposits, and actually on the 318 again, where I sold privately goods. So it also just emphasized that I was selling products. And this was not to Quality Meat, Your Worship. This was other private transactions, which shows that, especially on 318, goats. So I was transacting, sorry, Your Worship, and not just with Quality Meat, as I previously said. So this is just interesting to note that.
Okay. These are the payments I picked up from Quality Meat Supplies. There was an interesting payment that I picked up. There was a payment to, on the 22nd of August 2022 to a certain Victor.
Yes, Your Worship.
Was that payment to Victor Malema?
No, Your Worship.
Whose payment was that?
It was to a friend of mine, Victor Thigipu, for I think I bought some cattle from him.
Alright. Now, I want to refer you to other payments that I picked up. I'm sure if I missed something, my learned colleague will deal under cross-examination. But those are the payments I picked up regarding quality meat supplies.
That's correct.
In your bank statement, would the court find any payments from NAMCOR?
I haven't dealt with Enacon. I haven't dealt with Irongo. So no.
I also picked up a payment from for 1,040,000, 21 July on the statement by Parkwood. I need to see which page number is that. So that statement starts on page 354, that's Parkwood. That payment is on page 355. May I proceed, Your Worship?
You may proceed.
Thank you. Mr. Willemse, you see there's a payment of 1,040,000.
That's correct, Your Worship.
We know that Parkwood at the time belonged to you.
Yes, Your Worship.
All right. Can you please explain that payment?
Your Worship, that payment was for transportation. Parkwood, and if you look at Parkwood bank statements, you'll see it's a legitimate transport company, did various transportation. And one of the transportation was for a company called Echo Trading, which I must mention as up to now and previously never dealt with NAMCOR. It's not a NAMCOR customer. So I did the cross-border transportation for them as reflected by the bank statement.
At the time, sorry, I apologize. You proceed.
You can proceed.
You want to say something?
No, it's
okay. So this Echo Trading, is it Echo Fuel?
No, it's not
Echo Trading.
It's Echo
Just to
Trading.
be clear there. Echo Trading, who did it belong to?
It belongs to Mr. Malima as well. As I mentioned to this court, that I started having a business relationship with Mr. Malima. And at a certain point in time, he bought some containers, because this was just not transport, although the narrative says that it was containers and transportation that I sold to him, because I was based in Walvis Bay and I have access to containers and transport them. I was doing a lot of transport business, which I can highlight to the court some other transportation services. So I did transportation for him and I invoiced him for this, and this was a once-off transport to a service that I rendered, because you don't buy every month or every year containers. When you buy it, you convert it into offices or whatever you do with it. It's a once-off. So I supplied him and transported it for him.
All right. Now, if you go to page 381, it's the same bundle. Sorry. Was it with us? Page 381.
You may proceed.
Mr. Willemse, please identify the document that is marked in our bundle as 381.
That's a tax invoice, Your Worship, from Parkwood Petroleum and Logistics to Echo Trading for cross-border transportation DRC 8, the quantity is 8 trips of the value of 1,040,000 Namibian dollars. It was, the invoice was done on the 20th of the 7th, 2022, and the due date for payment was 31/07/2022. And this was from my company, and the only reason I had that because my personal, like I told your worship, my personal documents was haywire, and that's why my taxes were not so up to date, and I need to go and find the invoices for these transactions to prove that it was legitimate business transactions, nothing to do with NAMCOR, nothing to the inferences that are being made is totally baseless and untrue, and I invite the officers to come and...
So just a question then on the amounts that you have been referring to in your bank statements regarding the sale of the carcasses or the animals. Are there any invoices?
Yes, there are, Your Worship. I need to find them, and that's what I'm trying to explain to this court, that my personal life went totally haywire since my divorce, and I have tried to pick it up since then, where my accounting, my things are in boxes, is all over the place. I moved from different houses, but luckily on the company side, I could find this invoice because I did even send people to my farm to go and look for where, if there's maybe boxes with invoices, but I'll find it. I know I'll find it. It's just I'm detained. It's difficult to send people that doesn't know and doesn't know where to look. So that and my sometimes, like I said, my memory loss doesn't help, but it will come and I will find it to prove at trial. But for now, there is narratives in the statements that actually, and that's why I wanted to prove that I had the livestock, Your Worship, to showcase that I could sell these products for that amount of money.
Okay. Let me proceed.
I just want to conclude. The invoice, text invoice on 381, is that reflection of what the payment of 21 July?
Yes, I believe so.
It says the same. Mr. Willemse, as a candidate for bail, or if you want to be a candidate for bail, it is the duties on you to prove to this court on a balance of probabilities that you are a candidate. So why do you want bail?
Your Worship, my life is further falling apart after my arrest. My finances is in shambles. I'm missing payments. I'm the only income generator for my family, my kids that needs to pay their university. I'm already behind because I haven't earned for the past 2 months. I need to sustain my own living lifestyle. So I'm a bit stuck. I will lose a lot if continued detention where I couldn't earn, and at the time, in the event one day this go to trial, I don't know when, I might have lost everything. And what if I'm found not guilty? If I find the proof, then I've lost a lot. So my kids are suffering due to this. My personal finances is, like I said, I need to make payments on my vehicles. I need to make payments on my farm, which was my sole income. I've already told the court that my business selling at Havana has stopped. People are taking advantage of me being in detention, by my flat not being paid. A friend, which I thought was a friend, I asked him to fix a bakkie. Now he doesn't want to return the bakkie because I'm here and he thinks I will never come out. So I'm sitting with this lot of hardships due to the incarceration, which I believe could have been resolved because I'm not a flight risk. I've invested in this country. I've invested in properties. I have no intention to run.
If the court decide to grant you bail, how much bail can you afford?
Your Worship, currently, to be honest, I'm a bit stranded. I can afford, or I would be able, with some friends and families that are willing to assist, maybe between 10 and 20,000 million dollars.
Your co-accused, two of your co-accused granted bail, I believe in the amount of 50,000. If the court is inclined to give you bail and the court also grants you 50,000, will you be able to pay that?
Your Worship, I would struggle to pay it, but I believe I'll probably not pay it on the same day, but within a week I would be able to raise that kind of funds.
How will you raise it?
Through friends and family members, to try, and my mother has indicated that if it needs be, she can call up inheritance from my stepfather's passing. She can call up some money, but it's also not a lot and she needs to live. So yeah, so hopefully I will be able to raise that amount. And also want to send some of my vehicles, return it to the bank, but I don't want to do that now because the state might argue that I'm trying to abscond or I'm trying to do something. So I'm hoping to get out and ask permission. Can I send this to the bank that I don't need, so that I can just get by with the minimum and try and regain my finances or re-establish.
Bishop, that concludes the application. As far as the applicant is concerned, there is an aspect that I also need to deal with, and that is the issue of the grounds as indicated by the state. There are 5 grounds which I wanted to commence today. I've been on my feet for a while now. May I ask if we can have the afternoon break today, so I can start dealing with those 5 tomorrow. It should not be really long. If we start at 10, it should be done by 11.
Advocate Person, any objections?
None. I was just hoping we finish, but there is no objection.
Oh, I can try to go up to 4 o'clock if my little friend insists. It's just that it's been a long day. I would rather start tomorrow fresh.
Since there is no objection, the matter is then adjourned to tomorrow, the 11th of September, for continuation of the bail application. Accused, you are remanded in custody. We will start at 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. We may adjourn.
Guys.